So the clean grip, or the conventional deadlift hand position, which is really narrow, is going to be the grip that allows you to move the most weight. It's going to tax the posterior chain the most. The snatch grip is going to be the grip that helps you engage your quads the best and helps you find that wedge position that really engages the upper back and you feel the weight in your shoulders. And then the third grip that you don't see a lot of people doing on purpose, but that they do accidentally because they don't understand the snatch grip, is kind of a medium grip. So when we used to compete and train, we would train all three grips from blocks, from deficits and whatnot. And the reason being, the snatch grip is going to be my weakest, but it's going to be one that's done great with tempo because it forces me to push the ground away. It forces my glutes to contract very aggressively so I don't let my back round because my arms are so wide. With the clean grip, I can be extremely explosive. I can move a lot of weight. And so how we tie those two together is kind of a medium grip. So it should be, maybe similar to your bench grip, but it's halfway between the snatch grip and the clean grip. And that has a transfer to take the one to bring it in to the other. And they should be used in kind of a rotating manner so that you can convert them. Otherwise, you're doing an accessory that may or may not have the right positioning to actually transfer over. And just like in powerlifting, you have conventional pulling and sumo pulling, the positions are different. Where you should feel the strain in your back is different. If I'm pulling conventional, I'm going to feel a lot more strain in the low back. I know you're not supposed to, but you're going to. If I'm pulling with sumo, just by the nature of my more vertical position with proper sumo, I'm not going to feel as much strain in my low back. I'm going to feel more in my quads, glutes, and my shoulders. That is going to be similar to a snatch deadlift. So here's the three of them, then I'll kind of explain a little more how to do them. So first off, we have our conventional deadlift. Our feet are going to be, straight forward, shoulder width apart. We're going to come down, arms just outside the hips. I'm going to roll my elbows back, tuck my armpits, and try and really pull my shoulders using my lats into my back pockets. That's creating tension through the spine. I'm then going to lift my shoulders away from the ground and fire my glutes through to push it up. So it looks like this. So I'm creating tension. That tension floats the bar, and then I push through. So I'm creating tension, leaning into it, and then pushing. So on a stiff bar, that slack pull is going to be different than it is on a deadlift bar because of how much play we have in it. But as the weight gets heavier, that motion of pulling and wedging into the bar and my hips firing through becomes one. We just exaggerate it on light lifts so we can train the muscular pattern of firing where I want to take the tension out of the bar, wedge myself under, and then push and pull as I go. So again, with a heavier weight, it would look something like that. With a snatch grip, it's sometimes hard for people with a snatch grip to keep their backs flat. So what they end up doing is rounding their upper back and consequently rounding their lower back. If you have a extremely wide grip with a rounded lumbar spine, the likelihood of injury goes way up. So think of it this way. Our lumbar spine is supposed to be stable and our hips are supposed to be doing the motion. So first mistake people make, a snatch grip should come to the crease of your hip. If it's below that, when you're at extension, that is not a snatch hand position. So when I come up here, notice how I push my knees out. I wedge myself under the bar. So when I get tension in my back, it lifts off the ground. So knees out, wedge in, and then I'm going to push and pull, and that is in the crease of my hip. And then going down is actually the easiest way to learn this. So when I do it in reverse to learn the correct positioning for my low back, I'm going to arch my chest up, tighten up my lumbar spine, bend my knees, and then I'm going to shift my hips back and go to the ground, come up, hips through. So I'm going to shift my hips back until I feel my hamstrings tighten up. I should be about an inch or two below my kneecap at that point, and then I'm going to squat the bar to the ground. That's why it's a very good position to feel the wedge, because I have to use my quads to get the bar to the ground. So here, quads. If I'm going down and I try and use my posterior chain the entire time, by nature of my arms being so wide, I will have a tendency to then break to reach the ground. That is where you get injured. And that is also where people, when they're trying to pull from the ground, will tend to break down because they don't have the ability to engage their posterior chain and hamstrings and keep their back engaged with such a wide position. So that error looks like this. So I come up good, and I'm going back down, I break. Now I'm rounded, so I try and round to go up from there. The bar is floating away from me, I'm in a very dangerous position. If that does happen to you, a good way to reset is to squat. So my back broke when I was rounding down. I'm now going to squat into position. Arch my back, get tense, and go again. So now, my clean grip, is about here. My snatch grip is there. So my medium grip will be with my pinky on the ring on an Olympic bar. So this one, I can create greater tension in my back like a conventional, and I can create a lot of wedging like a snatch grip, and that's why it's great to transfer over, especially for a sumo lifter. I don't need to have crazy wide hands. I can do that with snatch, but this will transfer really well with heavier weights to a sumo position because I can feel that loading on the quads as well as on the back at the same time. So that's going to be here, and then I tighten up and go. On the snatch grip deadlift, a lot of times because you're pulling so much with your upper back and pushing with your quads, your knees will go out and over your toes at the beginning. That's completely normal, and that's the proper position. It's going to protect your back. With a conventional deadlift, because I'm using so much posterior chain, my knees are almost going to be vertical when I start leaning against the bar to pull it up. This is a hybrid of the two. So my knees are going to be more vertical than in the snatch, but I'm still engaging my quads quite a lot to get it off the ground. So I'm here, my knees are in line with my elbows, and then I push and pull away. Whereas on a conventional, my shoulders are straight over the bar and I'm floating the bar from the ground. And with a snatch grip, my knees are wide over my toes and my hips are down and under. So try those three things and pay attention to where you feel the tension. Snatch grip should be between the shoulder blades, in the glutes and in the quads. Moderate grip should be kind of in the middle of the back, in the quads. On a conventional, you should feel a lot of tension in your hamstrings, some in the quads, and a whole lot in your lats going down into your low back tie-in. So in this area, when you lock it down and lean back. If you all have any questions, feel free to send me any DMs. I'd be happy to answer or work on videos with you.